against peace. I thank you, Sister Sonia, and those responsible for this program. First of all, let's give them a warm round of applause. For the opportunity to come up and have a word of reflection. And as I reflect on our ancestors that suffered 1898 and that continue to suffer, not only them, but throughout this country and throughout the planet, the indigenous people are suffering and are in need of justice, and justice is past due for us, and not only for us, but there are many who are suffering from the lack of justice throughout this world. But to reflect on our ancestors here, in particular, the 1898, I think of the words of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he gave us three definitions, specific definitions on justice. And the first one was that justice is justice is the greatest principle of fair dealing. It's the greatest principle of fair dealing. Number two is justice is the law that distinguishes between right and wrong. And number three is justice is the weapon that Allah will use in the day of judgment. So we're talking about the 1898 massacre. We're talking about the suffering and the terrorism that our people suffered during that terror act. And we know that sometimes justice, you look at it, it looks as if it's sleeping. When it's in the hand of the oppressor who does not know how to yield and properly administer justice. See, but one thing that we need to know for sure, it's not about the politicians, it's about the legislation and all that. Regardless if they give justice or not, God is the one who's going to ultimately give the justice. Am I right? He's the one that's going to give the justice, because justice is not sleep. He says that the greatest principle of justice is fair dealing. We don't see anything that's fair in the treatment and the dealing and the retribution of the families and our descendants that have suffered from 1898. He says that justice is the law that distinguishes between right and wrong. I mean, we can look and see clearly what was right, what was wrong, what took place. But why does it seem to take so long for those that are in power or the powers to be to really yield the true justice? Is really easy if you were fair in your dealing.
That's right.
But those that are in power that have the scales of justice in their hands, they're not fair with the dealing of that justice. Right?
That's right, brother.
And the last thing it says that justice is the weapon that Allah God will use in the day of judgment. So we see judgment, we see calamities, we see things going on in the world today. And regardless, again, if those that are in power wish to be fair and deal and properly give the proper justice or not, you're going to. You're going to. There's no way around it, because Allah, God says that justice, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, he said justice lays down with you when you lay down at night. He said, and real justice gets up with you when you get up in the morning. So justice is never sleeping. Sometime on our timetable, it may seem to be moving slow. But you best believe, and we can better believe, that justice will be administered one way or the other. But we will continue to fight and continue to fight with those who are fighting for reparations, because reparations are due.
That's right.
Reparations are surely due. But, and really true reparations have to be given the entire city.
I hear that.
And it's going to be given up anyway.
More than that, brother.
So we might as well be fair, those powers that have the power to do right. Do right. But if it's on you, if it's not in your heart to do, so be it. You're going to, willingly or unwillingly, we will have justice.
That's right.
We will have justice. We're not going to continue. We can continue as black people, as people of color, to continue to put justice in the hands of an open enemy of ours, who have never been concerned about our welfare, who have never been concerned with giving us true justice. What we have to do, the basis of what we need to do,
that's right,
and we all know this, is that we have to give justice to ourselves. And as we give justice to ourselves, as we are just to one another, and we give the reparatory damage to one another by dealing fairly with one another, by dealing with a good, fair balance. When you look at justice, one side of the scale has the facts, and the other side has the actions based on those facts. But we look at justice and the way justice is administered in this country, in this city. We see justice, and you can bring the facts and have it on one side, but on the other side is who you know. The haves, the have-nots, the wealthy, if you're wealthy and the influence that you may have. That's not justice. And God is angry at that. Politics and playing games with the lives of people with laws and having the power to write laws and make legislation, playing a game, playing God. See, those days are over.
That's right.
Those days are over. So we are gradually coming into to a time. We're not gradually. You can see, if you're watching with an open eye, you can see throughout the world the calamities and the things that Allah, God, is doing because He's angry. He's angry what has been going on. He's angry at the injustice. And it's time now that we have justice, and more importantly, let's give justice to ourselves. And as we give justice to ourselves, that makes our cry for justice to our open enemy even that much stronger. Because the excuses they love to use, in my conclusion, is that, well, they don't care anything about themselves. Look at their community. Look at how they treat one another. That's collateral damage from what you did.
That's right.
You're looking at the result of cause and effect. You're looking at the effect of 400 years of bondage and the people who have been all but destroyed.
That's right.
Of people who have had the knowledge of themselves, the knowledge of their God, the knowledge of their culture, religion, history, everything has been destroyed, and now you're looking at an empty vessel that you fill back up with what you wanted it to be, and you call it a nigger.
That's right.
And you call it a Negro.
Yes.
But God didn't make Negroes.
That's right.
He didn't make a nigger. He said, let us make a man. And He made man in His image, and after His likeness, you took that and flipped it, made a nigger, and now that's what you see going on in the community.
That's right.
And want to judge us and charge us, but you're just looking at the damage of the example of the little gangbanger who's been following the example of the real gangbanger of the United States of America.
That's right.
And all those little cities under America. Operating based on those same principles. So let's, lift our hearts. Let's not get weary. Let's continue to work and work hard for justice and demand justice, but we have to demand it on ourselves. More important. So with that, I thank you. And at this time, I'm going to bring Brother Jacob back on to carry on the program.
Yes, sir.